You're a first-time mom. You're looking into your baby registry and you're thinking, man, there are a lot of expensive items that I could buy. Do I need them? Well, I'm here to let you know that most of them, you don't. Hello and welcome to another video by me, Danielle. I hope you're having a wonderful day. And if you're pregnant, I hope that your pregnancy is going well. If you're a mama, I hope that your whole life with your kids is just beautiful right now. I wanted to make this video today about what you don't really need when you have a newborn. The reason why I wanted to do it is, man, when I was a first-time mom, I was broke and I was trying to be on a budget when I was making my registry, thinking about what my baby would need. And, you know, I think there's a lot more moms out there that just don't want the $300, $400 stuff that everyone tells you need because, you know, either you don't need it at all or there are great replacements for the items that might come in handy, but you don't need to spend an arm and a leg to get them. So I'm here to tell you that. Now, of course, just as a disclaimer, this is all off of what my experience was with these items and how things worked out for me. And also, remember, I'm cheap. I like to budget and I don't like to spend a lot of money on stuff. So I'm not going to buy the name brand stuff just because it's name brand. That's just not me. So, you know, do what you want, but I am definitely a believer that there are plenty of knockoff brands that do things just as well or better than the actual brand name things. So let's get into this. So item number one you don't need, it would be baby shoes. What babies really need are socks. So maybe have one pair of shoes if you want them to be in pictures or something like that where it's going to be just a cute little event they're wearing them. But they're going to kick off those shoes if you have them on. And a lot of times babies don't like shoes and they're going to cry because they don't want them on their feet. So invest in some nice socks, warm socks, socks that look cute, and go from there because socks came a lot more in handy for me than shoes ever did for my baby. So the next item is one that I think you need, but you don't need the name brand versions of these. So that would be a Snuggle Me or a Dock-A-Talk. So those loungers. You don't need those name brand loungers. You can go with anything you find on Amazon. I went with my first son. I bought one a little bit later on, but I think it cost $35 and it was on Amazon. I might have gotten an Amazon Prime Day. I'll put a link to what I got there. And man, I was very happy with it. My son liked it and he used it for a long time. Then with my second baby, I rebought the exact same lounger right off of Amazon. Got a few different covers for it because they do get dirty. You know, babies spit up all those things that are dirty about kids. And we actually still have it. So my son's now turned 1 last month, but my oldest son now likes to nap on it. So when he's taking his nap during the day, we put him on this little baby lounger and he loves it. And the fact that it's not a Snuggle Me or a Dock-A-Talk, it actually is a little more flexible. And I think it's a little larger. You can actually open the bottom. So my son can sleep on half of it and then his feet kind of hang off on the couch on the rest of it. It's awesome. I would definitely recommend getting a cheaper, not name brand version of a lounger because they've come in handy through all the stages, especially when they're a newborn. Man, it's so nice to just have them on the couch next to you on this lounger. And they're protected by sides so that they don't roll off if you're not paying 100% attention to them. You're watching TV, you know, maybe they're rolling in their sleep. So it's good. It's good to have that and just have a little extra safety built in if you're going to lay them on the couch next to you. Oh, here's another one that's going to come in hot for some people. You don't need a Snoo. So a Snoo is a bassinet that rocks your baby to sleep. Okay, I have heard stories from people I know and people I've seen online that the Snoo came in handy when their baby just wouldn't sleep. Okay, there are some babies that go through those phases where they just will not sleep at all. But are you going to spend over $1,000 on a bassinet just for that? Yes, maybe it'll make your life easier for like a month, but I really just don't think it's worth it. The other thing about equipment like that is you can usually rent that. Depending on what city you're in, you can rent baby equipment, and the Snoo is something you can rent. The other thing about the Snoo, a lot of people did buy it, only used it for 1 or 2 kids. So if you go on a thrifted site, Facebook Marketplace, you know, Craigslist, if we're going back in the day, how people used to get stuff, you can go on there and then maybe find a Snoo or another nicer bassinet like that, but never buy a Snoo full price. You know, if someone gives these items to you, you know, any of these items on the list, if someone gives them to you during your baby shower, go for it. That's great. They're going to spend the money on it, but I just wouldn't spend the money on it myself. I'll tell you that. But I do think you need a bassinet, whether you do a pack and play, which our second son didn't even have a crib. He just had a pack and play. So we had a bassinet from our first son that he used for the first couple of months. Bassinets are nice when they're very little because it's easy to go in there, especially when you're recovering postpartum and like things are not as tight in your abs. You don't want to be leaning over. The bassinet's nice because it's just less leaning down, easy to grab the baby. But after that, you either have to go to a crib or a pack and play, which is kind of like a crib. You know, it's not as nice as a crib. So with my oldest son, he had a crib, but he did still sleep in our room in a pack and play for a couple of months before he moved into his room in his crib. And with my second son, he slept in a pack and play for almost his first entire year because he slept with us in our room, and then I moved him in with his brother. And instead of buying another crib, I just used the pack and play because I knew his brother was going to have to move into the bed pretty quick. So he slept with his brother in their room for about 2 months in a pack and play, and now he's in his crib, and his brother is in his toddler bed, but most of the time in our bed. You know how that goes. But what I'm saying is, you don't need a Snoo. I would get a bassinet, and if you really don't even want to buy a crib, I would buy a pack and play. Here's another topic for clothing. Don't buy a bunch of fancy baby clothes. Now, I've only had boys. My boys basically like to be in sweatpants or knit shorts and whatever comfortable t-shirt they can find. So that started even when they were babies. So a lot of times they were just in a onesie and maybe had pants or shorts on. You know, that's all they wanted. Or they were in a sleeper, which if you have winter babies, sleepers are super, super, super important. But don't spend a bunch of money on the fancy baby clothes. It's nice to have 1 or 2 outfits. Again, just like shoes for pictures, it'd be nice to have a collar shirt or something like that. But don't invest a bunch of money in it because it's just really not worth it. And don't do name brand baby clothes. It's just going to get dirty in the first couple of wears, and you don't want to be thinking, man, I wasted so much money on that. Could have spent it somewhere else. This one's going to hit hard on some people. And you know what? Maybe your baby's going to love it. Both my sons hated this. My sons hated sleep sacks. Now, people rave about sleep sacks. They rave about like the magic Merlin puff suit to sleep in, or all the fancy sleep sacks you can get out there. My sons did not want to be restricted whatsoever. They love swaddles, and I actually like to swaddle them, but they didn't like any sort of sleep sack where they were so tightly constrained. I think with my oldest son, he liked his hands out from about 1 month on. He wanted his hands out. So anything sleep sack or like the swaddles that like have the Velcro on them, they just weren't about him. Too tight, too confined. They didn't like him at all. They would cry and cry and cry until I took them off. So maybe your child's going to like that. It might be worth testing out, getting 1 sleep sack, 1 swaddle that you don't have to do the swaddling yourself. But for me, muslin blankets, those have been the best thing that I invested in because it helped our kids sleep. And not only could we use them for blankets, they also could be burp up rags. You also could cover yourself if you're in public and didn't want to, you know, to be breastfeeding out to the world. So there was a lot of uses for them. But yeah, I loved them. Still do. Still use them. And I think they're very pretty too. This is just a little tip. You know, you're going to have to buy this eventually. You don't need baby oils. You don't need baby lotions. Babies don't really get that dry. Now, some babies are born super, super dry. Maybe you're going to need it, but don't invest in a bunch of baby lotion because your hospital is most likely going to tell you, try not to lotion your babies because you don't want to add that extra moisture and oil to their skin since they do produce a lot themselves. So that's just a little side tip for you. So the last 2 have to do with baby sleeping, and these are pretty big actually. So baby monitors. You do need a baby monitor, but what I would say you don't need is a baby monitor that connects to your phone. I don't think there's anything more annoying than having to have that app open on your phone. You're using up all of the battery on your phone, and you can't be doing anything else on your phone. Usually when your baby's napping, you're trying to get work done. You want to be on your phone, you know, looking at Instagram, Facebook, whatever. That's like your time to get done what you want to do, whether it's work or leisure stuff. So what I would recommend is getting a baby monitor that has a separate little device that you can watch on that's not connected to your phone. Super easy. There's a lot out there. I used the Hello Baby one. I think it was recommended from Jess Hover, an influencer that I love here on YouTube. If you don't know her, go check her out. One thing I love about it is you can connect a bunch of cameras to the one screen. I believe it's 4 cameras. So like with the 2 kids, if one was sleeping in one room, one was sleeping in the other, I could have 2 cameras on them. Came in very, very nice. But yeah, when it's connected to your phone, it just becomes a hassle. The last thing that you might need, but you surely don't have to get an expensive one of, is a sound machine. My first son didn't use a sound machine until he was almost 1 year old. My second one loved a sound machine. I fell into the trap. I invested and got a Hatch, which they are not cheap. Those are not cheap sound machines. I think when I bought it, it was $99. I think they're even more expensive now. And yes, is it a really nice sound machine because you can control it from your phone. You can have the colors. You can time it. You can, you know, do so many cool things with it. Yeah, cool. But do you really need all that? No. No, you don't. But what I would say is if you want to try the sound machine, go to Amazon. I bought one with my second son that was a portable one, and it has super long battery life. We could carry it all around the house. and it was just super, super nice. You know, babies just like that white noise, and if you have a fan, that's another nice way to make that white noise. My only issue with a fan is if you have like a winter baby, it can be a little cold in the room, but my sons love fans. In the summer, we always have a fan running in the room. So come up with whatever works for you best or whatever fits your budget, but you can definitely buy cheap sound machines if you don't want to be running a fan for that white noise. Well, those are all my tips for things that you probably don't need to buy. So those are all my tips for the things that you don't need to buy, and you especially don't need to buy brand name of for your baby. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Ring that bell so you know when I have more videos coming out. I'm trying to stick to a Monday through Friday posting schedule. I am going to also try to work some vlogs into what I'm doing, maybe some what I eat in a day as a working mom, and some kid meal ideas, because I know that's hard. I struggle with it all the time, so I understand if you struggle with it too. But yeah, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.